special guest joining us at this point in time, Mr. Vivek Oberoi, actor, joins us on the show. Vivek, appreciate you joining us at such a short notice. The entire country is upset. The entire country is sad. We have lost an icon. We have lost somebody who perhaps has been embedded in our mindset, since childhood. I'm sure for you as well. Somebody who's been a hero in his own way. He's considered to be the Adarsh Purush, if I can use that word, a Nayak of sorts. How do you respond to Mr. Ratan Tata's demise? Vivek, can you hear me?
Yes, absolutely. I can hear you. I didn't realize you were asking me the question.
Yes, that was for you, Vivek. Thank you for joining us. Do you want me to repeat the question or?
I thought you were asking someone else. It's a tremendous loss. It's a loss to the nation. It's the loss to everybody who's aspiring to build an organization. It's a loss of somebody who's left this greatest legacy in my book in the world in terms of integrity. I had the personal privilege and honor of meeting and spending time with Mr. Tata. I'll just give you a small, anecdote. The first time I met him was at Prime Minister Modi ji's swearing-in ceremony when he was Chief Minister of Gujarat. And both of us met at the swearing-in ceremony. This was, I think, if I'm not mistaken, 2008 or 9. And we had a lovely conversation. And I mentioned to him, I said, Tata Sahab, when I wanted to do something for kids fighting cancer, especially underprivileged kids who are children of laborers, children of farmers. The first organization I went to was Tata Memorial Hospital. And the DNA, the ethos of Tata is such that every doctor who worked there didn't have to, but themselves volunteered to say, Mr. Oberoi, we won't charge anything which is our fees. The hospital will not charge any profits. We will do this and we will subsidize the costs for you. And whatever the actuals are, you pay for, and we will help treat these children through your Cancer Patients Aid Association. Till date, we must have taken more than 70, 80,000 patients over the last 22 years.
Wow.
In the hospital. And it's an unwavering commitment. And this DNA of Tata as an organization comes down to every employee. The way they behave with you, you understand that they're a Tata Group employee. And I mentioned this at that time. We had just started the relationship, maybe 5-6 years at that time. And I mentioned this to Tata Sahab. 2-3 days later, we were all back in Mumbai post the swearing-in ceremony. And I get a personalized letter. And when I say personalized letter, handwritten and personally signed. It's not one of those printed signatures. Where he appreciated the conversation we had. And he said that if you ever have any trouble with this, my doors are always open. And he appreciated me, encouraged me as an individual. So in a small note, firstly, he's Ratan Tata. He was actively managing one of the biggest conglomerates in the world. And he had time to remember the conversation, note it down, send a personalized note. I still have that letter with me. It's something that reminds me of no matter how great you can be, the greatness comes from the humility that is embedded within you. True patriot, absolutely proud Indian, always looking to take the Indian flag global. Exceptional human being. And every time I met him after that, I had the good fortune. I remember when in Nagpur, they were building the free cancer hospital, the Cancer Institute in Nagpur. I was asked to come in and participate in the pediatric section because my focus is on free treatment for children, underprivileged children. So the first thing I asked at the hospital also, I said that, these accelerators, the linear accelerators, the Linacs that you require for cancer radiation therapy, it's a very expensive component.
Correct.
I said, how are you guys affording this? And they just smiled and they said, Mr. Tata is donating it. And then I met him again at the inauguration of that ceremony. And even at that inauguration, he remembered our earlier conversations. He remembered asking, how you are personally. I think this legacy of greatness comes from the humility, the integrity, the fierce patriotism with a global mindset, with a view on the world. That combination is absolutely rare. I've met a lot of great business leaders from across the world. I haven't seen anybody like Mr. Ratan Tata. They don't make anyone like them anymore.
Vivek, it's very heartening, the story that you just told us. In fact, we've heard several stories of his kindness. We have heard several stories about his exceptional behavior. What do you think is going? Well, he has a business legacy. He has an industrial legacy. He has a legacy, of his own. But when it comes to cultural legacy, what do you think Mr. Ratan Tata has done for India?
I think, if you ask anybody, especially in an age where you have a tremendous amount of attrition rate, people jump companies, whether it's the West or in India, people move from one organization to the other in search of a better pay package. It's a very common story. But the minute you look at a Tata Group company, you'll still find people who are there for 35 years, 40 years. You'll find young people who are in their early 30s, having spent 7-8 years in a Tata organization, and you ask them, what's next for you? And they say, it's only being here as part of a Tata organization. And they intend to be there for the rest of their lives. There aren't many companies. There are a lot of companies that can give you more money, but there are not many companies that can give you an experience of being part of a family, part of an organization, part of a culture that you just mentioned, like the Tata Group. People proudly call themselves Tata man and Tata woman. And there's a reason for that. They foster an incredible level of integrity, a pursuit of excellence, belief and faith. If somebody fails at trying to do something that would take things to the next level, that failure would not be something that's just captured in a performance report. That failure would be personally handled, where the leadership will tell you, it's okay that you failed. You are trying something that not even 1% of the world is doing. So it's an exceptional effort. Keep trying. We believe in you. Faith and that confidence that they foster in moving in the right direction. I mean, I remember when they picked up a European company that was trying to create cars, automotive systems that would move on compressed air.
Sure.
They were the first to do that. And it didn't work. But that's okay. At least they were moving in that direction, because when I asked Mr. Tata, what is the reason behind this? And he said that, look, the reason behind this for us was we realized that India's dependence on import of energy and sustaining our economy on this constant burden of importing oil is a critical problem to solve. So what can we do that we can solve it with things that are abundantly available in India? That was the thought process way back then. I think this was early 2000s when they bought this company, and it failed, and they wrote that off, and that's fine. But they kept trying, and that's how you see Tata Electric today. Raman Bhatia of Servotech. Tata was the first person, the group, to invite him and say, look, we want you to solve this problem for Tata EV. And we've talked to a lot of international players, and they can't solve this technical issue of our charging, of our EVs. And they believed in an Indian promoter, an Indian company that was very small, that solved it, helped fund a global patent in that charging ecosystem that has been independently developed in India. That's the kind of faith and belief that they've constantly pushed their Indians, partners and team members, to elevate them to a global stature. That's the Tata thought process. That culture, I don't know if that exists anywhere else in the world, not just India.
Well said, Vivek. In a society and in a day and age, Vivek, where people judge you on the basis of your following on social media, here you have Ratan Tata, a man who has such a humbling effect even on you or anybody he touched, is perhaps the last of his kinds. How much are we going to miss him?
I know personally, after a few of the anecdotes of my good fortune that I had so much time with him, just a few of my meetings, they've left such an indelible mark on me. And when I think of people that I aspire to learn from, to follow the path, these trailblazers, these legacy creators, the first name that comes to my mind is Mr. Ratan Tata. And he will always be, for me, the symbol of integrity, of patriotism, of India pride, of pursuit of excellence, and at the same time keeping all of this, having not an ounce of arrogance, absolute, incredible, genuine humility, not just in words but in action. So he is somebody that I look up to. He is somebody that I will tell stories about to my children so that they get inspired and generations follow the path that he has created.
And he was not a very outgoing person. He was very private. He kept to himself most of the time. He never married. He got close to marrying 4 times, but that's what we have heard. But he never really married. But still, Vivek, there is this feeling of a personal loss. You have had the privilege of meeting him. I haven't had, and billions of people haven't had the privilege of meeting him or interacting with him. But you still felt that you knew this man, despite him being so closely guarded about his personal life. Why? What describes this phenomena?
I think it's a very interesting question that you asked, and I must answer it with the right nuance. The brilliance of the person that he was that he respected his own privacy greatly, but he also respected your privacy greatly. He never asked you a question that would make you uncomfortable. He never asked you a question that was out of context. He was a thorough gentleman like that. That old school class, that old world class, is something that he embodied. I think the reason why we feel so connected is that today we live in a world which is very transient. The attention deficit is very, very high. You have the finger swipe going on, trying to figure out what people are doing with their lives, and you're mostly focusing on lifestyle, luxury, brands, a vicarious view of people's lives. But the difference that when it comes to a person like Mr. Tata is that you know him not because of his words, but his actions that have had such an amplified effect on this nation, which is truly, the greatest emerging nation in the world. And I think that in that foundation, one of the great pillars was the Tata Group. And that was not an easy legacy to carry. We think of Mr. Ratan Tata as somebody in his 70s and 80s because that's what we remember closely. But if you go back to the Ratan Tata who was inheriting a great legacy, started 2 generations before him, and to carry that legacy forward through all the challenges that this country faced in the 80s and 90s with liberalization, all those challenges, and to steer the organization through and take it to an even bigger level. That itself is, something that you could learn. I posted this. I said that an hour with Mr. Tata was like a year in university. You could learn so much if you would listen.
Vivek, one last question before we let you go. There is this obvious momentum after the passing of the great Ratan Tata for him to be given the Bharat Ratna. Well, he is somebody who obviously had the word Ratan in his name, and he lived for Bharat. It's going to be a great honor, but I think his life is a testament to the fact that he was one of the foremost citizens of this country.
I agree with you, and I don't think there's anybody more deserving than him of the Bharat Ratna. I would have loved it if he had not got it posthumously. I would have loved it if he had received it while living and serving our great nation like very few people have had the ability to serve. The impact that Mr. Tata has had, but it's better late than never. I believe that if I was the Indian government, I would institute an award for integrity and a constant pursuit of excellence in Mr. Ratan Tata's name, because I think that's what it's deserving of. I think he continues to inspire millions to follow his legacy.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.